Good morning, guys. Good morning. Once again, welcome to South Africa Lately, a channel where we discuss South African trending news. We do, however, grab here and there from international news when it is trending enough to be brought here. Before I go any further, I know some of the people will come like, oh, what this, you don't know anything about politics or what. Of course, I don't know anything about politics. What I know is that I'm a voter. So here we go again with a disclaimer. I am not a politician. I do not have deep knowledge in politics, but I am a South African citizen who is also a voter. You know, the political affairs of South Africa affect the way I decide the party that I'm going to vote for. So I'm only a citizen of South Africa, is also a voter, so I do believe my views count when it comes to political affairs of this gorgeous country. Now, we're going to be looking at the MK media briefing that happened yesterday on the 11th of October. You know, the party seems like it's getting itself together like that. The first one is that Floyd Shivambu is having a party there. He's enjoying himself. And the second one is that President Jacob Zuma loves Floyd Shivambu and he appreciates him. So let us get into this. The first one that I want us to look at is when Floyd Shivambu said it is allowed for MK to have a dual membership for strategic purposes. I know what in politics is that.
Now, in terms of the dual membership, so section 513 of the Constitution, we're now mentioning the section. It says that save for highly exceptional and strategic circumstances, and with the approval of divisional officials in high command, members of MKP are not allowed to be members of another political party, except organizations in formal alliances with the MKP. So, save for exceptional and strategic circumstances are broad officials. So the case, the situation of our president, Commander General President, is a strategic circumstance which retains the dual membership, and it's allowed as per the Constitution of Congress. And it's not just tailor-made for him. There are instances where we're going to allow members to be members of other political parties. To give you an example now, there are councillors and leaders of political parties that are represented in some municipalities. They went there in the name of their political party. If they leave that political party now, they are going to lose their membership as councillors. So we might agree that, okay, you can retain your membership of that organization and be a member of MK, but come 2026, when the circumstances change, you can now join fully as MK. So it's not just tailor-made for the president, it's to deal with these aspects where dual membership in some instances that are strategic are going to be prohibited. So there is nothing unconstitutional and nothing untoward about the membership of President Zuma. It's within the Constitution of Congress. That is what we did. Thank you very much.
Is the former President Jacob Zuma still a member of the ANC though? Because the last time I checked, he was fired from being a member of the ANC. He was booted out. So, and he also said something after he was booted out of the ANC. Remember that? He said he was not done with the ANC. Is the plan to go back to the ANC, or is the plan to destroy the ANC completely? Let me just rewind and remind you what he said the day he said what he said.
Asikwazi ukuthi sizokhululizwe sibe sizondana thina. Sibe siphoxana thina. Kodwa sizokhululizwe. Sizohluka kanjani kumuntu oswaguga kakhulu emhlaleni embizi? Kunomuntu emhlaleni embizi na 12. owasihlupha sonke saze saphuma ngesana kodwa kangiphumanga mina ngikhona lapha ngaphakathi. Hayi nomsebenzi omkhulu engisazowenza ngoba ngilungisizwe angifuni ukuphoqophoqa abafuna organization for very good reasons. You know abantu bese sicaba ukuthi yoniwe okhokenwa abantu. So dila nabo lesikhatsala kusiyeza. So manje salungisa into yona ke khululizwe. Saphumelela nje ngale saqeda sathi ngisephatha. So baqoqa. Boza baqoqa la. Kodwa indaba endala le.
I know he's talking about President Cyril Ramaphosa. He says he gave everyone a headache up to a level that everyone left the ANC. He says, but I have not left. I'm still there inside and everybody is having fun with that. They are laughing. So I want to know, he says he's still there. I think this video came, if I remember very well, this video came after he was put out of the ANC. So what is the strategy of the ANC, of the MK with the ANC? What do they want to do with the ANC? Is it to finish the ANC off, or is it to go back, take the MK back to the ANC, and the ANC resurrects again, be strong? I don't know. Some people have said the ANC is only there, the MK is only there to resurrect the ANC. I don't know. As I said before, that I don't know much about politics. I just comment as a South African citizen who's also a voter. Let's move right along.
In terms of immigration, Umkhonto does not agree with undocumented and unlawful immigration. We do not associate with them. We think that in the process of pursuing the pan-continental integration of the continent, there has to be documentation of everyone so that we know who is who where. So the Pan-Africanist commitment is not shifted. We are of the view that the continental infrastructure, the economy, the people, the cultures must be integrated. But we are not for undocumented movement of people, because that might threaten the security of each of the constituent parts which are going to pursue the African integration agenda. So so Pan-Africanism does not entail anarchy. Pan-Africanism does not mean that we must just live as if there is no order. There has to be order. There has to be clear guidance as to how to integrate in terms of the economy, in terms of how to benefit collectively as black people in the African continent from our common economic resources and heritage in terms of what happens. The leadership.
Isn't it amazing when you start talking like a South African, and now we are relatable when you say things? Because he was not talking like this when he was with the EFF because of the EFF policies. But I want to remind you, let's roll back. Let's roll back to what he used to say when he was with the EFF when the question of illegal immigration was asked.
Mr. Shivambu, this question is for you. All the parties talk of securing our borders and improving visa procedures. But how do we deal with a large number of undocumented migrants presently in the country?
Look, there's two distinct issues which a lot of people confuse about the EFF's Pan-Africanism and a policy to integrate the entire African continent. There will never be sustainable economic prosperity for the entire continent if it is not integrated. That question couldn't be resolved in 1963 when the OAU was formed. As a generation, we have to resolve that question. That what colonialism did was to subdivide us into small and viable states that are unable to develop by themselves. So we are purposefully going to integrate the infrastructure, rail infrastructure, electricity infrastructure, water systems, so that the entire African continent collectively prosper. When Japan was realizing economic growth after the Second World War, it played a central role in the economic development of South Korea. It played a central role as well in the economic development of the People's Republic of China. Check what Deng Xiaoping did in the early periods of opening up. Learned a lot of lessons from what the Japanese were doing. And there was collective development of the entire Asia. It was, by the way, that region, that section of the world, was treated and considered in the same way the African continent is considered. Of lazy people, of that continent, of a hopeless people who do not have any form of potential prosperity. It's foolhardy, it's actually foolishness to think that we're going to pursue the economic expansion of South Africa only without the collective effort that seeks to develop the entire continent. And to achieve that, We need the free movement of goods and people. Africa Free Trade, Continental Free Trade Era deals with that aspect far much more clearly. And that is the direction that must take all of us. Don't listen to anyone else who tells you anything else, because it's like this thing of the ANC of saying they're going to create 2.2 million jobs when there's 11 million people who are unemployed. We won't be able to deal with unemployment unless if we collectively put our resources as the African continent. But then the second issue is, how do you deal with migration? What do you do to migrants, whether they came here for socio-economic reasons, for whatever reason? Do you treat them like animals? Do you refuse them access to primary basic health care? Do you refuse them basic burial rights, such that those trucks that are carrying goods and people and live human beings are also carrying carcasses of people who have died in the informal settlements? We can't be that inhuman. We need to have a progressive internationalism and Pan-Africanism that one leads to common economic prosperity and protects particularly African immigrants here in South Africa. That is our position.
Just like that, instead of answering the question, he went south, east, west, north, and still didn't answer the question, because you know, when something is just not making sense, it does not make sense. Anyway, I'm happy for him that now he can finally answer this question confidently and say we are not for illegal immigration. Isn't that beautiful when somebody finds their voice and they are able to express themselves the way they want to, because they are now living on the truth. All right, let us move along. So now we're going to look at how President of the MK, former President Jacob Zuma, is appreciating Floyd Shivambu.
The interpretation of the comrade who's sitting here, that I'm standing next to, this one, this one, this one, this one. You don't know. There are politicians and politicians. This comrade I've known from when he was very young in the ANC Youth League. That's when I picked him up that he is a real politician. His politics, which I defy as scientific politics. This young man, he's a young man to me. Don't worry that he's big than me and all. Honest politician, honest, clear political. He takes decisions at the right time for good reasons.
So according to the policies of MK, no MK member is allowed to insult the opponents even when they are insulted. So I think here they are trying to clean the image of the MK instead of it being seen as a violent party, because they are mostly related to what happened during the looting. You remember the looting? Yeah. Where shops were burned and all of that. They're trying to remove themselves from violent parties. So I think this is good for them. And I hope all the MK members follow this, because it is there for a reason. Anyway, let us hear how that was said.
Claim no easy victories. And the emphasis is that the respect demands that all members of Umkhonto party must respectfully raise their political views in and outside the organization, and must engage even political opponents with robustness, but through respect. No member of Umkhonto party will be allowed to throw insults at anyone, including political opponents, even in instances where they have been insulted or provoked by the opponents. It's one of the principles that is going to guide how the organization is, but that is substantiated in the Constitution. And in terms of the structures and organizational structures of Umkhonto party,
if you watched up to here, thank you for watching my videos, and thank you for those who are watching my ads in full. This is South Africa Lately, a channel that discusses South African trending news. We do, however, grab here and then from international news when it is trending enough to be brought here. Do have a lovely weekend.